Imagine boarding a plane for a routine 2-hour flight, only to land 37 years later. Your family and friends are gone or decades older. Your world has transformed beyond recognition. You are alive, but your time is not. Is this incredible story real, or is it the greatest aviation myth ever told? Today, we uncover the truth behind Flight 914, the plane that seemingly vanished from time. The story begins on a summer day in 1955. Pan American Airways Flight 914, a Douglas DC-4 aircraft, supposedly took off from New York, heading for Miami with 57 passengers and 4 crew members on board. It was meant to be a short, uneventful journey down the coast. But shortly after takeoff, the plane vanished. It disappeared from radar screens without a single distress call. Air traffic controllers were left staring at an empty blip with no explanation. A massive search and rescue operation was launched. The Coast Guard scoured the Atlantic Ocean, but found nothing. No wreckage, no oil slicks, no life vests. It was as if the plane, its crew, and all its passengers had simply ceased to exist. Pan American Airways eventually declared the flight lost at sea, and the families were left to grieve without closure. Then, the impossible happened. Fast forward 37 years to 1992. At the international airport in Caracas, Venezuela, air traffic controllers spotted an unidentified aircraft approaching their airspace. It wasn't on any of their scheduled arrivals. When they hailed the pilot, the response was baffling. The pilot identified himself as the captain of Pan American Flight 914, en route from New York to Miami. He seemed confused, asking for their location and reporting that he was scheduled to land in just a few minutes. The tower controllers were stunned. Pan Am had gone out of business years earlier. The aircraft model, a DC-4, was an antique from a bygone era of aviation. As the plane made its landing, ground crews were shocked by what they saw. It was a perfectly preserved, yet visibly old, aircraft. The pilot's voice over the radio was filled with panic. He claimed the date was July 2, 1955. The control tower informed him that the year was 1992. A long, chilling silence followed. According to the tale, the pilot, realizing something was terribly wrong, frantically took off again, disappearing back into the clouds, never to be seen again. But what about the brief moments it was on the ground? The story gets even stranger. Some versions claim that before his panicked departure, ground crew caught a glimpse inside. The passengers' faces were pressed against the windows, a mixture of confusion and fear. They were dressed in 1950s fashion, holding newspapers and magazines from that era. One version of the legend even says a small 1955 pocket calendar was dropped on the tarmac during the chaotic takeoff, a single piece of physical evidence left behind from this impossible event. To the people on that plane, only a few hours had passed. To the world, it had been nearly 4 decades. How could this happen? The story exploded into a phenomenon, fueled by our fascination with the unknown. The most popular theory pointed to a wormhole, a hypothetical tunnel through space-time. Did Flight 914 accidentally fly into a temporal rift, a shortcut that catapulted it 37 years into the future? Science fiction fans and paranormal investigators loved this idea. It was a clean, albeit fantastical, explanation. Others suggested a dimensional slip, arguing the plane crossed into a parallel reality and then stumbled back into ours decades later. And, of course, some theories involved alien abduction. Was the plane taken, studied, and then returned, with its occupants unaware of the time that had passed? These theories spread like wildfire, first through tabloids and magazines, then across early internet forums and email chains. The story had all the elements of a perfect mystery: a vanished plane, a shocking reappearance, and a puzzle that defied all known laws of physics. But as the legend grew, so did the skepticism. It was time for investigators and debunkers to dig for the facts. Was there any truth to this incredible tale? When researchers and aviation historians started looking for official records, they hit a wall. A very solid wall. They searched the archives of the FAA, the Civil Aeronautics Board, and Pan American Airways. There was no record of a Pan Am Flight 914 ever taking off in 1955. There were no accident reports for a missing DC-4 on that date. The entire foundation of the story, the initial disappearance, simply wasn't there. So where did the story come from? The trail led back to a sensationalist American tabloid called The Weekly World News. In a 1985 issue, they published the story of Flight 914, complete with a stock photo of a DC-4 and a fabricated account from a Venezuelan air traffic controller. The tabloid was famous for creating fictional stories about bad boys, alien presidents, and other outlandish tales. They even revisited the Flight 914 story twice more, in 1993 and 1999, each time adding new, fabricated details to keep the legend alive. The photo of the eyewitness air traffic controller was just a stock image, and his name couldn't be found in any airport employee records. The entire event was a work of fiction, created for entertainment. So why do so many people still believe it, or at least want to believe it? The answer lies in human psychology. We are naturally drawn to mystery and wonder. Stories like Flight 914 tap into a deep-seated desire for the world to be more magical and less predictable than it is. The idea that time can be broken, that there are cracks in our reality, is incredibly compelling. It's an emotional narrative, one of loss, miraculous return, and the ultimate unknown. In the age of the internet, these stories can go viral with a single click, shared across social media without any fact-checking. Each share gives the myth a little more power, making it feel more and more like a hidden truth. It feels possible, even when all the evidence says it's not. The truth about Flight 914 is that it never vanished and it never returned. It is a powerful urban legend, a modern myth born from a tabloid's imagination and nurtured by our collective curiosity. The story isn't a historical event, but a psychological one. It reveals how easily fiction can become fact, when it's repeated often enough and speaks to our deepest hopes and fears about the world. It's a testament to the power of a good story. So, was Flight 914 real? No. But the reason we found the story so captivating, that is very real. It reminds us that sometimes the most interesting mysteries are not the ones in the sky, but the ones in our own minds. If you enjoyed uncovering the truth behind this myth, subscribe for more mysteries explained. Thanks for watching.